Hello and welcome. You are listening to the Happya Life Podcast. I'm your host, Clare Deacon. After deciding survival wasn't enough, I set out on a path to live my best life. I wanted to thrive. Now I'm on a mission to support others. Think you're not good enough, confident enough, brave enough? I'm here to tell you you are, and you can achieve anything. This is your time, so let's do this. Hello and welcome to the Happya Life Podcast. I'm Clare Deacon, positive psychology coach, trauma-informed therapist, founder of Happya, and a real person who's walked the messy path from surviving to consciously steering my life. So let me ask, have you ever looked ahead and wondered where you are in all of this? You've been showing up, picking the boxes, doing what needs to be done. Deep inside, something feels like it's missing. A longing for clarity, perhaps, a sense of disconnection from yourself, a whispering saying, is this really it? When life feels like survival, shaped by grief, burnout, overgiving, or just trying to hold it together, the concept of manifesting your dream life can feel distant or irritating because you're not looking for some short-term feel good. You want something that actually works, something practical, something real. Meaningless affirmations or vision boards plastered with the words abundance and unstoppable aren't going to cut it when your body is exhausted, your mind is screaming for clarity. What you want, what you need is something more grounded, more real, and something that actually works for you. So here's the foundation. Manifesting is not about wishful thinking. It's about conscious creation. It's about working with your brain, your body, and your values to move forward gently, intentionally, and without pretending everything's fine. Because let's be honest, you're not looking for some superficial affirmations or vision boards that just leave you feeling exhausted and your mind screaming. What you want, what you need is much more grounded and more real. So today what I want to talk to you about is the science and the soul of manifesting a future you genuinely want, not through toxic positivity, not by pretending everything is fine, but by learning how to work with your brain, your body, and your deepest values to take that intentional action. But also, and importantly, not by scaring yourself. We hear a lot about feel the fear and do it anyway. And yes, absolutely, discomfort is often the part of growth. But there's a difference between healthy challenge and pushing your nervous system into complete overload. If you're already operating in survival mode, you're hypervigilant, anxious, running on empty, then forcing yourself to take giant leaps will likely lead to burnout, not transformation. We need to be gentle with our pace. Respect the capacity of our body and our minds. You don't need to crash through fear. You need to walk beside it with compassion. So let's pause for a moment. When you think about your life and what you want, what comes up? Is it clarity, peace, a career that feels aligned, relationships that feel reciprocal and nourishing, the ability to rest without guilt, to laugh more, to feel more like yourself again. Now, notice what voice comes up after that. Is it, that's not realistic? Maybe one day when things settle down. Maybe you have a voice that says, I don't even know what I want anymore. I've tried before and nothing changed. If that's what you're hearing, I see you and I get it. Because manifesting your future requires so much more than just deciding what you want. It requires believing it's possible. And for so many women I work with, intelligent, capable, high functioning women, that's the hardest part. When life has knocked you sideways through loss, divorce, burnout, disappointment, chronic stress, your brain adapts. It becomes wired not for expansion, but for protection. And so, even attempting to dream, even visualizing what you truly desire can feel unsafe. It lights up the part of your nervous system that says, don't go there, don't get your hopes up, stay small, stay safe. This is where positive psychology becomes such a powerful tool because it doesn't bypass the pain. It doesn't ask you to pretend. It works with what's true, with what's here, and helps you build something meaningful from it. It invites you to connect with your strengths, your values, and your sense of purpose. And from there, you begin to create momentum intentionally. So let's reframe manifestation, not as some mystical process, but as a practical one. Because here's what the science tells us. When you visualize a goal with detail and emotional resonance, your brain starts to build a map. The reticular activating system, the part of your brain that filters information, begins scanning for evidence and opportunity that aligns with that goal. It starts to notice patterns, opens loops, potential actions are taken. And when paired with intentional action, this isn't just visualization, it's a strategic alignment. You are literally training your brain to believe in possibility again. And this is the piece most people forget. If your nervous system still believes you're under threat, no amount of goal setting will stick because your energy is still being rooted to survival and not to creation. That's why any manifestation work that ignores regulation of the central nervous system is incomplete. So, step one is always about grounding, creating safety, regulating your nervous system so you can receive new possibilities without panicking or sabotaging them. Might look like breath work, somatic practices, connection, therapy, or simply reminding yourself, I am safe in this moment and I can choose differently now. Then we build the vision, but not in a way that Pinterest and Instagram tells you to. We don't start with the surface, the house, the money, the external success. We start with the feeling. How do you want to feel in your life? Clear, energized, valued, inspired, grounded? Because it's those feelings that become your compass. They inform the actions you take, the boundaries that you set, the choices that you make. You don't have to have a 5-year plan. You just need to be honest about what you no longer want to tolerate and what you're willing to move towards. That's what I do at Happier. I don't overpromise sparkly dreams. I don't try to sell you a fantasy life that feels a million miles away. I focus on the next step of Happier, no matter what your starting point. It's about grounded growth, not perfection. It's about forward movement in your time and in your way. And I want to tell you a story, something that really captures this from my own experience. A few years ago, I sat at my desk and thought I'd love the opportunity to write a book. I wanted to get my message out to people in a way that was accessible to everyone, something anyone could pick up and say, this helps. But instantly, that little voice crept in. You write a book? Never. I'd been told from a very young age that I wasn't good at English. I even won a prize once, a book for effort in English. What I heard wasn't praise. I was 6 years old, and all I felt was, I'm rubbish at this, and they're trying to make me feel better. Still, write a book. I wrote it on a post-it note and I stuck it on my wall. I'd see it and smile, maybe one day. Sometimes I'd glance at it and think, who are you kidding? But I left that post-it note there. Then one day, someone asked if I'd write a chapter in a collaborative book. And instead of shutting it down, I said yes. I looked at that post-it note and thought, this is a step towards that. It felt manageable, a test, a way to explore. And that changed everything. Suddenly it felt possible. I started seeing other women publishing books, and I thought, if they can do it, so can I. That book I co authored led to my solo book, Blooming Happier. And now that little effort in English book, the one I received at 6 years old, sits proudly on my shelf next to the books I've published. Was that manifestation? Was it the universe showing up for me? Maybe. Or maybe I just opened the door by believing just a little and taking one step. So here's your invitation. Take some time this week to visualize a day in your ideal life in the future. Something, not a fantasy, but a grounded vision. Where would you be waking up? How would you feel in your body? What's around you? Who's around you? What brings you energy? Then ask yourself, what is one small, intentional action I could take today that moves me in that direction? It doesn't have to be big. It could be saying no to something that drains you. It could be opening a notebook and writing a dream down. It could be booking a chat, planting a seed. And if you're thinking, this is what I need, but I can't do it alone, you don't have to. That's why the Happier community exists, not just to listen, but to walk beside you to help you move from hoping to creating in a way that feels safe, supported, and real. So let's recap. Manifesting your future isn't about dreaming big and leaping blindly. It's about choosing small, aligned actions day by day. Honor who you are and where you're going. It's about rooting in safety before stretching into possibility. It's about letting go what's no longer yours and reclaiming what always was. And it's possible. Not because the world suddenly changes, but because you begin to move differently through it. You don't need a vision board. You need a vision that's yours. And the courage to believe you're allowed to move toward it. I'm so glad you're here today and have been listening along with me. Please like and share the episode. Until next time, take care of you. If you've enjoyed this episode, ensure you hit subscribe, head on over to my website, happiercoach.com, sign up for the weekly newsletter, and let me support you in living a happier life. I'm your host, Clare Deacon. Thank you for listening. Have a fabulous day.